Now, this Friday, Iranians will vote in a second-round runoff to choose between two presidential candidates. They're picking between the sole reformists in the race, Masoud Pezeshkian, and ultra-conservative candidate Saeed Jalili. In the run-up to the first round, Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei had urged Iranians to participate, but turnout plummeted to its lowest level since 1979. France 24 reporter Andrew Hillier has just got back from Tehran, and he joins me here in the studio. Andrew, great to see you as always. Was there much enthusiasm amongst some voters you spoke to?
Well, Delano, voter turnout was a very big concern for the Iranian authorities going into this election. Everyone from the Supreme Leader to the candidates themselves were urging Iranians to participate. And what we noticed, our team speaking to voters on the ground in Tehran, speaking to ordinary Iranians, was this split between those people who were very keen to participate and those who had already decided that the election was a ploy, a show put on by the regime. So just take a listen to what they told us.
Every candidate's priority is to obey the Supreme Leader, so it won't change much for us, because they'll do what he wants.
Inflation is out of control, and it's having an impact on every sector. I think it's better to come together and vote because it's in our own interest and the interest of the government. For a long time, we had faith in them. I hope they keep their promises.
The economic situation is very hard for young people. I understand they're suffering. That said, they're wrong to sit it out. We must come together and vote.
Equality is one of the most important issues for Iranian women. That'll continue until we purge our society, our laws, and our culture of machismo.
So, Delano, turnout is a very serious issue for Iran's rulers. They've always insisted on the need for a high turnout because it gives the system legitimacy. On voting day itself, last Friday, on the first round, we saw the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, cast his ballot in a mosque that's attached to his office complex. It's a heavily fortified compound. And then there again, he spoke to reporters, insisting on the need for a high turnout because he said the Islamic Republic's reputation and pride depended on it. Now, we actually spent election day itself in various polling stations talking to voters who told us what their top concerns were. Take a listen.
I don't think the issue of voting itself should even be up for debate. It goes without saying. It's my duty. I expect the next president to pick up where late President Raisi left off, with regards to both domestic and regional foreign policy.
I want to make changes, and I think that by voting is the first step to do it. Well, I'm hoping that the situation will be better for women in Iran. And also, I think some of the policies have to be changed. And I hope that the person I voted for could change them.
But the big story here, Delano, was the turnout. I'm just going to show you some figures now. It plunged to 40%. Now, that is the lowest level since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. You can see here how it's been steadily falling since 2009. And this is a big issue because this could lead to a crisis of legitimacy. These elections are fundamentally not just contests between reformist and conservative candidates. They're also, in a way, they can be interpreted as referendums when it comes to turnout on the Islamic Republic itself.
So, besides turnout, what is the other big story here, Andrew?
Well, the other big story was, without a doubt, Masoud Pezeshkian going from being a complete outsider to a front runner. Here's some facts about him. He reached the second round runoff against Saeed Jalili, the man who was born in Mahabad in West Azerbaijan province, lost his wife and one of his children in 1994 in a car accident, health minister between 2001 and 2005, a member of parliament for Tabriz, and backed by two former reformist presidents. Now, he's the sole reformist candidate who was in the race, but we have to qualify what reformist actually means within the context of an Iranian election, because even the reformists, they have to pledge allegiance to the Supreme Leader, they have to work within the confines of the system, otherwise he wouldn't be allowed to run. However, what he has done is he's criticized Iran's morality police, he's criticized the treatment of women, and that struck a chord with voters, particularly with women, and he wants to re-engage with the West. Now, also noteworthy, as you can see here. If Masoud Pezeshkian wins, that would buck a trend that's held since 1989 when Ali Khamenei became the supreme leader. And it's the trend of 8-year cycles of conservative administrations, starting with Hashemi Rafsanjani, followed by reformist ones that you can see, Mohammad Khatami, and so on and so forth. If, on the other hand, Saeed Jalili were to win, well, he has the most hardline contender, close to Khamenei, fiercely loyal. That would signal the continuation of this trend.
And finally, Andrew, we know that elections in Iran are tightly controlled, but how do they work exactly?
Well, I think it's very important, Delano, to remind viewers how these elections work, of course, because presidential candidates are all vetted by what's called the Guardian Council. This is a 12-member clerical body, 6 members chosen by the supreme leader, another 6 chosen by the head of the judiciary, who is himself chosen by the supreme leader. In practical terms, what this means is that many candidates, particularly those who are seen as too reformist, are filtered out. In this election, for example, of the 80 who applied to run, only 6 were approved, and of those, only 1 is a reformist, Masoud Pezeshkian. So this is one of the reasons Iranians have cited for not participating, because it feeds into the perception that candidates do what the supreme leader wants. You know, others who want to vote say it's their duty, that it strengthens Iran, that not doing so would weaken the country in the eyes of its adversaries. But you know, I would say these elections do matter for a couple of reasons. First, they'll set the tone of Iranian politics and Iranian foreign policy in the years to come. And second, for observers, they serve as a useful bellwether because they're a good indication of the direction that Iran's rulers want to point the country.